What's going on, party people? It's Jason, aka the Dad Next Door. Every Thursday night, we go live with a brand new dad entrepreneur. And today I have a special guest. His name is Joe, and he's going to talk to you about how to become a successful male if you aren't already. But I'm pretty sure you might be. If you're watching this, you're already successful. But before I get deep into that, I got to hit you with the intro. You know, the one that I love so much. Here we go. Be right back.
Fatherhood. It's how we keep our tribes and families strong. You've landed in the right place if you're ready for dad jokes, tips, and tricks on fun parenting. Also with interviews with some of the coolest dad entrepreneurs we could track down and have them share their strategies to tackling it all in business and life on the Dad Next Door. And now, your host, Mr. Dad Jokes himself, Jason Centeno.
Say hi, Nana.
You ain't shy.
They don't show you it in action because things like this.
Oh, fix it. Fix it.
I love Daddy. He's a superhero. I don't know what a superhero. I know.
I don't know. Am I a superhero? Are you a superhero, Joe? I think you are. I think you can be.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
If you were a superhero, who would you be? Who's your favorite?
Oh, Superman.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
See, if I'm going DC, I'm a Batman guy. You know, you want to know why though?
Why?
Okay, so look, all those superpowers around him, right? Everybody got powers. This dude has no powers. His brain is his power. And because I was a firefighter, and I guess because like I've been around people with all kinds of talents, like the idea that you can be so smart that you can find out everybody's weakness, you can detect things, and you go hard with just your wits and some tools. Like that's basically to me the epitome of a firefighter. Is like, hey, training and tools, and you get in and you beat your way out, and you do it any way you can. And even though he had a dark beginning, I don't know, I just relate to him and Iron Man the most out of all the superheroes.
Yeah.
So
when I was a kid, it was Iron Man.
See,
Growing up, yeah.
In my head, I'm still Iron Man. Like
Yeah.
I literally still like I have that as a reminder of who I'm being. I'm Iron Man, but with kids. I'm Iron Man with a Christian Iron Man with kids. Basically, that's me. You know, I love Jesus, but I cuss a little, just like him. So you know. Well, that wasn't the start, I imagine, but hey, let's rock out with that.
We're here, man.
We both had very busy days, and mine was helping other dad entrepreneurs in the beginning with a funnel challenge with another fellow dad who was on this show. And then actually so what's been great about this whole ride so far is like all these dads that like I'm now doing projects with. So in my head, if I'm Iron Man, I'm always tinkering on this new kind of thing with somebody, and it's been really good and exciting. Now, I know you were pretty busy today. You want to get deep into that? Like, you know, the life of a dad entrepreneur is what this whole thing is about. So
Sure.
Mine was like live streams, meetings, trainings. I ran to a real estate meeting, and then I came here to be with your sexy behind. Now you tell me about your day.
Well, I appreciate that. And I'm glad to be here too with you there, Big Poppy. You know, the thing is start the day like I do every day, taking my son to school. You know, he lives with us, so I'm blessed to do that every morning, and we jam out. We listen to some Jim Rohn, or we listen to some Les Brown, or we listen to some Miles Monroe. Get them going in the morning. It gets me going in the morning, you know. And then I hit the gym, and then I hit the office, and building a new team out at a tech company that I just came on board with. Dropped another episode of the podcast today for the Successful Male Podcast. Make sure you guys check that out. Picked my son up from school, aftercare. Then we went to the land and sea market, which is over here, and we got some burgers and some salmon for my wife. And then I fired up the green egg and cooked for my family and had dinner with my family. And then just did a little bit of reading before I jumped on here with you to kind of level myself out, slow my mind down a little bit, and transition into the scrambled eggs brain into a little bit of elevation for us to be able to have a great conversation. But it's go, man. It's go time from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed.
So this podcast, right, The Successful Male, when did that start? And like, I guess, what's the focus of that podcast?
Yeah, so it was started by my partner and the founder of The Successful Male, Ron Malhotra, who lives in Melbourne, Australia. He started it, I think, in 2018 or 2017. I picked it up about a year ago, and I've been just pumping out tons of episodes. We were doing once a week all last year, and then this year I picked up the pace, and we're doing 2 a week now. And it's, we highlight men that are doing, showing their expertise in the world, living in their gifts, living in, a successful life, and really making a difference, right? That's the main focus is, hey, are you making an impact?
So who stood out from your podcast to say this year, the year of COVID, the year of the virus, all that, as far as like standout men that you successful males that you've interviewed, who stood out? Like, whose story like was like, oh my God, like I have to talk to this dude. You found out about him. Like tell me about that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say I'm someone that's very curious about anyone. Right. Like, and I'm not saying that to deflect.
Guy curious.
Right. Like, yeah, I'm guy curious. I'm curious about anybody. Right. Because the way that they see life and the way that they've gotten to where they are, I'm interested in that. Like, that's good information, because it's not how I see things. Because they have a totally different lens. They're the makeup of all their experiences throughout their entire life, and I am for mine, right? So whatever I can learn and discover from them, at the same time bringing out the best of them for that show. Like, I always tell people that I get to sit there and learn for 30 minutes from somebody, because like I've had guys that are money coaches. I've had people that are spiritual guys. I've had guys that are leadership experts. I've had guys that are 9-figure entrepreneurs. I just interviewed John Lee Dumas on Tuesday. So it's like, you have this wide range of people, people that have been in prison, people that have families, people that don't have families. So that's the great thing about having the Successful Male podcast, is I get to interview such a wide range of people, because our program is multidimensional, because life is multidimensional. So I do have guys that focus on money. I have guys that focus on marriage counseling and relationship advice. I do have guys that focus on business and career paths and leadership. I do have guys, that focus on the spiritual domain and mindset. I even have a lady that's getting ready to come on next month. She's a matchmaker, right? So we're going to talk about, what, from all of her years of experience of matchmaking, what's the most attractive traits for women, So just stuff like that, you get to have an expansive range of guests, and it's all very exciting. I would say, though, to answer your question more directly, Zach Babcock and I really hit it off.
Yeah, he's an interesting cat. Hopefully I get to talk to him.
I was a troubled youth like him, and I spent a lot of time with Florida Department of Corrections. So it was good to have somebody else that had made it out of that type of life to be able to be successful,
So you got a Florida headline named after you, like a Florida man one? Because that's my goal. When I moved here, I was like, I need a Florida man headline. So I keep messing with the gator in my yard, hoping for like some kind of situation where I end up in the news with that Florida man. I don't know.
Florida people do such dumb stuff. It makes national news all the time.
But you didn't get one. You didn't get your Florida man tag yet. That needs to be a thing, man. I seriously, like, it already is a thing, but like a real thing, I think.
What about you? Who's been your heavy hitter that you've connected with the most?
I mean, I like everybody. I wish technically every show has been perfect. To be honest, I want to give props to the guy who there's two guys that sort of set me down this path. One hasn't been on here yet, and one was the first guest. And because they're like, if you want to call it the other fathers. So if this was like, three men and a baby, this would be the baby. And like these two people and myself kind of came in and like one planted the seed and got me all hype. And the other one gave me the technical know-how and it guided me to this and that. Manny Lopez is the first guy. I don't know if you've ever met him, but he's created a network called Network of Influence. And, he's a foster kid that came out of the system and he created this whole educational thing for entrepreneurs, for young people starting to age out of the system where they can get all this free entrepreneurial knowledge from like Ty Lopez and Les Brown and Caleb Maddox. And they get this kind of, he calls them Manny Bucks. And I kind of want to create something based off the same system, but like you go in and you take these courses and like you complete them and you gain Manny Bucks. And then you could trade those Manny Bucks for services for any of the mentors that created courses in there. So like, say you went through the whole business course and you got this entrepreneurial course, you could take that and cash it in and say, I need to be mentored. I want to be mentored by somebody. And if they offer that service in there, like say if it's a $5,000 service, but this kid got educated and got trained and he earned like say 5,000 Manny Bucks, they could actually translate that into real money. And he could actually cash that in to get mentorship that would normally cost say $5,000 for free because everybody in there is all, they're all givers. So like, that's to me an amazing system. And because I'm on the other side of it, like, I'm a foster dad that adopted, and he's a foster kid that kind of came out the system. I see him as one side of the coin and he's the other. So like that dude like impresses the hell out of me. And the other guy who's the other Frankenstein father of this, if you want to call it that, this guy's name Chase. I forgot his last name, but Chase is on the case. And he's going to be on this show soon, but he's like this wild Guy Fieri looking dude that he actually he does a lot of stuff for behind the scenes for people in real estate and marketing, putting together their Infusionsoft. And he's got this thing he's creating. So I think he's in here next month, but I've loved all the dads that came in. I've ended up doing partnerships with them here, for this thing or that thing. Eric Skeldon, who he was on here a couple of weeks ago, we got a dad funnels challenge we're doing together. And then Jarrett Yellen, like, helping him develop people with ideas into like taking it from like the idea stage into the marketable app technology stage to go to market. So it's been a ride and a half. And, if it never goes past these first 10 guys, yourself included, like I'm impressed. I'm happy. I'm glad I did it. People talk about like, hey, how are you going to monetize your show? I'm like, dude, I don't need to monetize. I'm already monetizing the relationships just from on the strength of like, we got to know each other, like each other, trust each other. And now we're doing business together. And I don't know if it's going to be sweet for every relationship, but so far it's been sweet and I'm not going to stop that ball rolling. So, I'm into this for 100 shows, at least in my head, and 100 dads. And I want to help 100 dads. I want to help create 100 millionaires. I want to get 100 kids adopted. So I'm all about the 100. If you look at my last name, Centeno, it kind of means, it's a version of 100. So I'm all about the 100. So, I mean, I'm deep in it now, man. I didn't know what I was doing at first. I'm still kind of learning this thing, but as far as just, the benefit of just somebody just starting something like this and getting to know people is amazing, especially with COVID now. And, relationships are just hard to build because everybody's, scared to go, be in public. And thank God for that. I live in Florida and it's not as hard here, but
exactly
other places like, hey man, it's like, man, you can't hardly do business anymore because you want to meet people. Like you got to feel them out, like instinct, and get to know them and stuff. And it's really hard, even with Zoom and, all the other technology. It's really hard to really just build these kind of real relationships with people. So this has been my sort of love letter, relationship builder to all the dad entrepreneurs that are out there like me, from just getting started to all the way successful male. And I don't want to get off of that, but I wanted to ask you, I know you come from the hospitality industry and you managed hundreds of restaurants at one time. So I guess that would be the corporate world. How did you transition into becoming an entrepreneur and working for yourself and not being stuck in a 9-to-5? Maybe you worked that, but you always had this other thing that you could fall back on or just make your main gig. Like, talk to me about that. How did that happen?
Yeah, so it's always been a discussion, between my wife and I, as far as like, hey, we have certain goals that we have set together, for, the job I was in, her business, my business, businesses that we want to build together. And, you have to really fund the dream until the dream funds itself, and so, for about 2 years, I did both at the same time, and then, I was laid off from a company I was with for 10 years and, was kind of, how it is, man, it's God's plan. And it's never on my time, it's on his time. And, I had planned on leaving that job the following year anyway. So it was like, all right, well, let's kickstart things here. So that's what I did all last year, is really put my foot on the gas on building out the foundations of our business with the successful male and everything from, the email integration, the email marketing, the funnels, the copywriting, the webinars, the SOPs, the whole entire coaching packages that we need. We already had the course and stuff like that. So, all that stuff takes a lot of time and a lot of work. And when you're doing a job and you're doing that, it takes a little bit longer to get it off the ground. But I was able to kind of accelerate things. And, the difference, the biggest difference, I would say, is that, there's a different mentality when you work for an organization that's publicly traded on the stock market, compared to the entrepreneurial space. Quite often, not all publicly traded companies, but a lot of them, the culture is much more driven financially than it is about people. So it's really about profits first, then people. From my experience with the majority of folks that I've met over the last couple of years in the entrepreneurial space, it's the opposite. It's people over profits. When you place the people first, profits just seem to flow in. So, that's been the biggest difference, right? I would say that, being laid off from an organization just because it was an organizational restructuring, and there was 70 people laid off, including 2 presidents of 2 incredibly large restaurant brands. So it's like, no one's safe, man. No one's safe. And that's kind of just how it is. But, I knew getting into it that that's the game that you play when you're in that domain. And it's, going into the entrepreneurial space, not everybody's wired for that, and that's okay. Those of us that are very self-motivated and those of us are very purposeful and passion driven, we live in that space, even when I've run restaurants for other people, I ran it like it was my own, because that's just the type of person that I am, so transitioning over into this space, I think for me has been exhilarating, incredibly tough. Like I was telling you before, I put a lot at risk the last 5 months, trying to get 2 restaurants off the ground and own them. And that whole entire deal fell apart. And that's the nature of business, man. So 5 months worth of time, a lot of money and a lot of energy goes into that. And then it comes to nothing, I wouldn't say anything. I learned a lot, a lot about business, a lot about doing business with other people, and a lot about myself and what I'm made of.
Would you ever, because you've been in the restaurant business and you just said you were trying to buy some, right? I don't know all the circumstances of it, but I know that some people prefer to buy already up and running business because it's easy to just come in and be an operator. But based off of what you just told me, would you ever consider like creating your own from scratch, kind of like, hey, I had an idea for a restaurant, I got all this experience? Or is that kind of like, that would be such an uphill battle that's just not something you'd want to do? I'm just curious because of all the operating experience you have.
That's a really good question, man. And I'll answer it two ways. One, I would do that. It would, in my mind, I have plenty of ideas that are down on paper in a notebook of ideas that I've built over the years of things that I want to do. So yeah, certainly. But I would say I've had about 5 people ask me over the years if they should do it. And I told them all no. Because like you just said, I'm a restaurant operator. And all 5 of those people that asked me if they should get a restaurant, I told them absolutely not. I said, if you want to know if you should go and do this, you should go run a restaurant for a month and figure out if you want to do it. Because you have to understand, it's open 363 days a year. Okay, let's get that first. Number 2, you're talking about an industry with 80% average turnover. That means for every 10 people you hire, 2 stay. Okay, so then you also have the fact that if people don't show up and you're running the place, guess who's doing it? Right? So there's also that aspect for me right now that for me, it worked out to where like, okay, maybe that's not the path right now, because, like you and I are very passionate about being a father. And there's been plenty of times where I've had to pick up and leave 7 or 8 o'clock because someone doesn't come in and I'm doing the job.
Yeah. And that's why I asked, because everybody they have the sexy restaurant idea. I got them too. I got a pizza restaurant idea that I could ever get somebody interested in it, I think would be amazing because of just a lot of the pieces to it. But at the end of the day, just like the Airbnbs and the real estate and all this other stuff, like when nobody can come, that's got to be you. And if you're too far away or you're just like that, I don't want that to be a part of my life, then yes, there's all these benefits, but that 1 or 2 disadvantages is just too much. That's when you say no. But you don't get to know that until you've gone through it a lot. And that's the thing. These guys with money, hey, yeah, man, come on, I got the money. It's like, no, I don't need the money. I need you to be there. Like you gotta be ready to pick up, hey, ain't nobody cooking burgers. You better get in there and start making burgers like that. And that idea is kind of what makes me where before I had all this energy, but like, hell yeah. Now I'm like, hell no. So if that one thing don't get answered, I ain't in,
Yeah,
so.
You're thinking right. And it's not easy, man. It's not easy. You have to really love it.
All right. So I'm going to shake it up a little bit. I'm going to ask you 5 weird questions and you're just going to answer them any way you can. Call this like a reset, right? And they're going to, it might be a little bit weird, but just, answer the best you can. So if you could paint anything, what would you paint?
A tree.
Nice. Bob Ross over here. With you're gonna grow out the afro and get that. Yeah. Hey, that's not a bad life, man. He did a lot of good in his life. He just don't know.
Yeah.
What a celebrity annoys you the most? And go hard on Clubhouse.
What celebrity annoys me the most?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever thought about that. Damn, you might have stumped me on this one.
You never changed the channel on somebody and was just like, oh, when they came on?
I don't watch TV, man. I haven't for 10 years.
All right, what moderator in Clubhouse annoys you? Annoys you the most?
Oh man, I'll tell you who. I'm trying to think who annoys me. I don't know, just people. You know what annoys me the most, man? Just the news. The news annoys me more than anything, man. Like when I just, like
because they're
I
so
stopped
sure of
watching it, man.
themselves. They're so sure of themselves with their BS story. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is the truth. And it's like, dude, just change the channel. Like 12 other people got different opinions. But yeah, you're a respected journalist. No, you just sit there and read off of a teleprompter. You never get up out your seat. You ain't in the weather taking that rain. Those are the guys I respect. You know what I mean? All right. What's the most interesting thing you have in your wallet right now?
Oh shit, I don't even have a wallet either. I have one of those like metal things that you put your cards in between. But the weirdest thing that I probably have in there is I still have my dad's AARP card in there.
Your dad's, don't lie. That's yours. You're eligible now.
Old ass.
Yo, dude. I'm playing. All right, so check it out because I asked the question. This right here, you ever see these? They sell them in Home Depot. It's like a little saw and cut stuff. And you know how like you're just thumping around and like you got to open boxes and stuff or pop a can opener?
Yeah.
Like this little bad boy. It's a lot of tools in this thing. It's like $4 or $5 in Home Depot. I keep it in my wallet because I'm always using it for one random thing or another. And it's not like you can run around with tools anymore with skinny jeans and whatnot. Like you used to have a belt with a Leatherman and all that, and you could carry a knife without getting the police locking you up over something or the airport. Like those little things. I haven't tried to put it to the airport, but them things are useful. Okay. All right. What's the meanest thing you've ever said to someone?
Oh shit. Oh. Damn, man. I've said
you could have apologized. It's okay.
Dude, I've said some really mean things to people because I was not always a good man. I think the meanest thing that I ever said to somebody, the meanest thing I've ever said to somebody, I remember I was a teenager and I called my mom a bitch. And I said,
you didn't catch a left or a right?
Oh, my dad fucked me up. But I told her that, I loved her, but I didn't like her. And, of course, me and my mom are very close today, and she's my biggest fan, and I'm her biggest fan. But man, she had to deal with my madness for 12 years of craziness, crazy. And we always give it the worst to those we love most and we're closest to, for sure.
It's the passion.
We could keep going on this topic. I said some.
Top 10. Joe DiRoma's top 10 meanest things he said, going from 10 to 1. Your grandma, you old wrinkled. Bleeping out the whole episode.
Not Nana.
Oh yeah, don't go on Nana. Although my grandmom, she had some funny things she would do back to you, like take out her teeth and try to bite you with them and stuff like that. So you really didn't want to mess with her too much because she was from the streets too. So she would hit you with a, old Spanish ladies, they'll hit you with the chancla, the belt, anything handy, like a coffee pot, whatever you can piss them off at. So really, these kids now can't take that kind of heat, but we took it a lot and taught us to behave, and we don't talk funny to old, our elders. And, if anything, we need to go back to that. But, somebody out there is probably going to catch feelings about what I just said. But so what? This is the dad show. Most dads most dads agree with me. Most.
Yeah, real talk.
Yeah. So if you could get a yacht, what would you call it?
That's a real good question, man.
A successful boat.
The successful boat, the successful floater. Oh man. Growing up in Tampa here, I used to go out on the water a lot, man. And we used to love seeing, one of my favorite boat names was Wet Dream. That was my favorite one. We used to always laugh at that because we were in high school, riding around on our John boats and stuff like that out in the bay, and we said, "Oh, look at the Wet Dream!" Ha ha.
Yeah, the punny ones are always the best, like
Yeah.
that they have like a little hook to them, like Sopranos kind of boat or Mamma Mia or like whatever. But yeah, I get that. Um, so what does your best dad life look like right now? And you kind of talked about your schedule a little bit, but like,
Yeah.
what's that routine every day that you got where because you have one, I got six. This is not a boast or brag. It's like I sometimes wish I had more time with one because
Yeah.
it's a constant struggle to get them on their own and like kind of build with them without them, like, because they all want alone time, and times six is even worse. But like with one, I mean, I almost wish I had one just to pour more into, but I got what I got. So what's it
Yeah.
like for you?
Well, I'll say this, my wife and I plan on having more in the next year, so I'm going to be old dad. But
Adopt. Come on, man, adopt somebody.
adopt, yeah. Well, if we can't have children, that's where the direction we're going for sure.
Right.
We already discussed that, and we talked about even doing it anyways. Just because the giving birth is very hard on the body, so there's plenty, like you said, there's plenty of children that need homes, so we do want to have a big family, so that's a good point. But I would say, the time with my son and I right now, he does piano, so we do a lot of that together. He's started a YouTube channel, so we've been creating, he does all of his own videos. I got him Loom recording software for the computer, and he does a great job recording all of his Minecraft videos. And then we make thumbnails together and type up all the description for the videos. And I'm teaching them hashtags, and I'm teaching them, how to use Bitly for the links, and get everything set up for them, how to use video recording software.
How many have you done so far?
I think he's done 5 or 6 videos.
All right.
So yeah, they're pretty good. And then we play some video games together. Before the pandemic hit, our big thing was we loved going to the movies together.
Yeah.
That was like our thing. I've been doing it with him since he was like 2 years old.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, what's up?
So think about this too. You can rent a whole movie theater right now in Tampa for starting at $99. So if you want to do like a family get together with a few people and come in on that, you can get a whole theater to you and your friends and just be in that. I'm actually entertaining doing that this month. So they've been sending me the advertisements, but that's dope because to tell you the truth, $99 is 5 people anyway with some popcorn. So like you just get like 10 people and you can have a whole movie theater yourself and not have to worry about it. So something to think about.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I saw that, and I had a buddy that went and did it, and they loved it. But like you said, grab, a group of his friends or whatever, and parents or whatever we want to do, and then just go there and watch whatever we want to watch.
And you're all related. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right.
We're all from the South. We're all related. You know what it is.
We're all from Florida. We've been good the whole time. And then, the other things that we like doing together, a big thing for us is eating together. With me being in the food business for over 15 years, he really loves food. He's that kid that will try anything. He loves all different types of food. He was the opposite of me. I was a picky little shit. And so, like tonight, I cooked on the grill, and he's all excited with that. And, we eat together and sit down and have a conversation, and that's always good. Trying to think what else. Yeah, like that we were saying before, the jokes and the playing. We like pranking each other. So we always have this ongoing thing every day, pretty much, like trying to scare one another. So that's always going on. Always just messing with each other in public. Like we were in Walmart today, the neighborhood market, trying to pick up some tater tots and stuff, and he grabbed something off the shelf and hit me in the back with it, like a box of something, And so then he turned around and started running. So we're just big kids just playing in public, and it's a lot of fun. You can't take life too seriously, man.
So let me give you some dad advice around that. That's cute when there's one and you can see him on your peripheral, but because I was like that. But when there's more of them doing the same trick on you and it's coming from multiple directions, it ain't. So you're gonna have more. You're gonna have to break the habit, because otherwise you're gonna be ducking tater tots for the rest of your life, not knowing which direction they're coming from. You're gonna develop all these skills real quick, because just you're gonna feel it coming. Now, because I'm normally getting attacked from multiple angles, I already got moves that people were like, well, if they saw them, they would think like I was a martial artist, because I just know how to duck around my kids and move them around where I can actually walk a straight path in my house without getting tripped over somebody, because they go for the legs and the knees first because that's the size they are. And they're definitely coming at you from multiple directions. So I will say this, the more you have, the better your reflexes get, because you have to, because you're getting kicked in the middle of the night in the head by one jumping in your bed. You just feel the shift in momentum, and it's like, and just not to get kicked in the face, all kinds of dad stuff like that. But I'm just, as you grow, just remember this from me to you, like, get your skill sets up, stretch more, like practice martial arts, because you're going to need it. So about your son, right? So do you think when you, with this, with his YouTube channel, that he sort of like got a love for that off of watching what you're doing? Does he want to be like you or be an entrepreneur, or he kind of just picked that up on his own?
He picked it up on his own. His age, he's 11. So, I mean, you being a YouTuber is like a real thing. You ask a lot of kids his age, and a lot of them say that. So I just tell him, I said, okay, I'm not the type of parent that's like, oh no, you're not gonna do that, and it's like, I'm the type of guy like, okay, like, do you want to do that? All right, well, let's investigate that. What does it take to do that? Like, what kind of effort do you need to put in to build the subscriptions? What type of videos do you need to learn? So I said, hey, that's what you want to do. All right, well, then let's do it, man. And I can show you how, and you can build those skills, right? If that's what you're passionate about. So I think that's very important. And I learned that from my dad. Not that, my dad was necessarily there for me a lot, and that's okay. But my dad was doing what he loved. He was a musician, and he was always working on his music, always, like that engulfed his whole life, and that's cool. But again, what I took away from that is like, even if it is like you pursuing your dream and you're passionate about something, it still takes a lot of work. You still have to put a lot of effort into it, right? So that's something that I'm trying to teach my son, is like, hey, like, that's great, you want to do that. Let's go down that road then. It's not too early to start. And I would say this too. In 2018, the YouTube convention that they have in Orlando, the average age for the millionaires in that room was 15. 15 years old. There's 30,000 people. There's kids walking around that convention with 4 and 5 bodyguards, and they're 14 and 15 years old. So, like, the possibilities for something like that to happen for people are very real. And the ability for YouTube to grow, it has untapped amount to grow, right? It can grow exponentially because it's a user-based platform. So it's other users that create the product. YouTube doesn't have a product. Whatever you create and put on there is their product.
Well, I mean, it's a good start. It's just kind of keeping that flame going, because, hopefully they don't lose interest after they see that money does not come quick or easy. You have to put in the reps, and a whole lot of them, because you can't even begin to start looking for what might come from ad spend. So you got like 100 videos and 50,000 subs and all these kind of benchmarks around it. But it's good that he's trying to learn and hopefully he finds a niche. And like I said, you're there to kind of coach him through it because, hey, maybe he becomes the next, he becomes the Successful Kid podcast. I mean, he can just go ride your coattails right on into that and then interview a bunch of kids. You never know. There's always something that can be done there. You just got to put in the work, right? So,
yeah. And I think that the most important part about it is something that we get to do together that he enjoys doing.
Yeah. Well, that's too.
It's that simple, man. It's not about me. It's about him.
It's either that or crime. I mean, what could be better? Let's go break in a house. We're going to be second story men together.
Let's get out of Walmart together.
Before there was video games, there's like, let's go see if we can climb in this second story house and get something. No, I don't know nothing about that. So, what's a weird thing that most people don't know about you, or that maybe nobody knows about you? Spill.
That's it. You spill all your guts, man.
Come on, I'm Wendy Williams for 1 second. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, I mean, something that a lot of people don't know about me is that I fell in love with 70s soul music at the age of 10 years old. So, like I told you, I got in a lot of trouble when I was a kid. And so there was a time like that I was grounded for almost 6 months in my room. And that was back when we didn't have TVs in our room. We didn't have video games in our room, all that stuff. It was like, you're not allowed to go outside and play with your friends grounded. So all I had was a record player in my room. And so I just sat there and I listened to all my dad's records. And I discovered Barry White and Teddy Pendergrass and Earth, Wind and Fire and, all these old bands, the Brothers Johnston. And like I fell in love with 70s soul music, and I've just been all about it ever since, and then 80s R&B came out, and it was just like, oh man.
So I got a picture in my head of you right now, and you can stop me when I go too far, but I see Joey Dolomite with a pimp hat and the gear at 10 years old, and just like knocking out, like fighting people all messed up and jumping in cars. Like that could have been you, right? Joey Dolomite. Like, you're into that music.
You know what I had? I had white jeans. Remember the white jeans? I had the white jeans.
Like Lee jeans? You're talking about like the Lee jeans?
And I had the green, the forest green and white striped bum shirt on that. Remember bum?
What kind of shoes?
Oh man, I think they were Converse.
But see, back then that was all right.
Yeah.
Actually, no, they were Bobos back then, but still people rocked them. They became a style later on, but hey, I feel you, brother. Soul brother. I can call you. Oh man, that's some good stuff right there. So let's talk about the successful male. Like how does one get there? I mean, you sound like a successful dad. You're doing it. I mean, time will tell, because the more you get, I'm not trying to speak any negativity at all. I'm just saying, like, you're handling your business now. You get to play a lot with your kid. You've pivoted. You didn't say this, but I know this about you. Like, you got this second business going on with your wife, which is awesome, because the only thing better than one entrepreneur is two in the same house that are on the same path and are helping each other, and maybe even three, because if that kid takes off, then you got a whole family of media moguls. You can take over Roku TV with all that program.
Empire building, man. Yeah,
but talk to me about the successful male. Like, how did you get into that? I think you mentioned you took over somebody else's. Did you buy in? You bought him out, or he stayed on and you just kind of came in and joint ventured? Like, how did that work? And then where's it going? Where's this thing taking people?
Yeah, good question. So I met the founder, Ron Malhotra, about 2.5 years ago. He is a Indian Australian man from Melbourne, Australia. I'm a Irish, Italian American
What
from
was that, like a swingers cruise you guys were on or something? You just bumped into each other. Hey, we're both 40 guys.
Dude, we met in Boca Raton, Florida.
See, Florida is where it goes down. People don't realize that. Everything goes down in Florida. When you're out there getting your wrinkles on, like just getting that skin cancer, like this is where the deals are happening. You know what I mean? Out on the beach, banana hammocks, pina coladas.
Bro, the banana hammocks.
Boats and yo's.
We met at an event, this was right at the same time that I started my ontological coaching training, and it was all kind of coming at the same time, right? So I had been leading teams then for about 12 or 13 years, and discovered that I was very passionate about people development, and so I decided to get professionally trained as a coach. I was churning out a lot of managing partners for the company I was with, and I was really good at helping people discover their gifts and awaken themselves to the reality that they could have new possibilities for their life, right? So I went and got trained, and then I met Ron and these guys, and there was kind of a whole storybook kind of thing played out with a guy and that originally was bringing it to America, and that all fell apart. Then me and my business partner took over, and we've just took it and ran with it right in the last year. And the big thing is that a lot of people don't realize is that there's a lot of men that are suffering, and they're not, and they're trapped in this place of, I'm good. I don't need to get better. I'm content, right? And we are doing what we can to hold a space for men, just like you and I are right now, to come and have a real ass conversation, to talk about relationships, to talk about your finances, to talk about your business and your career, right? To talk about your mindset, right? Because it's a multi-dimensional program. We have a course called the Success Blueprint, and it covers all the things that we weren't taught in school. The things that are critical to life success, right? And the key is there's timeless principles that if you apply them to your life, you'll get results. So one of the very first things that we do in our program is we ask you to define your success. Jay, what makes you feel successful in your life, or what a successful life for Jay is totally different than Joe, because success is subjective. So we're doing what we can to pull people away from the toxic nature of what society's definition of success is, what we're just peppered with marketing and this and that and blah, 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 since we're kids, right? Pulling us out of the educational system of being indoctrinated into conformity, obedience, and an addiction to answers, and saying, let us start questioning ourselves. Let's start questioning our life. Let's start questioning everything, because that's how we'll start to be able to make ourselves have a bigger world, right? So we have to clearly define what success is for your life, because it's not what your parents' definition is for you. It's not your college professors. It's not your high school teachers. It's not even your wife. It's yours. And you got to get real clear on it for yourself. Okay. And, and then we start working into belief systems, man. When's the last time people sat down with a pen and paper and said, what's my purpose? What are my passions? What are my top 5 values? On a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied am I life in these domains of my life? Everything, right? And do a life diagnosis and get honest with yourself and get some acceptance, right? And then you start moving into some other things, like understanding the power of your mind, the distinctions between the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious mind. We have advanced goal setting systems. We teach you about productivity, leadership, influence, and business fundamentals. And then there's also money mastery and wealth creation fundamentals. And then I think the biggest thing that we talk about is when you do all of this work on you, you do all the intrinsic work necessary to grow and develop yourself into becoming the man that you not only want to be, but you really deserve to be, because it's afforded to everyone. If you have life, you're breathing, then you can take all that and your relationships get better with your wife, with your kids, with your job or your business, and definitely with yourself. But then when you do that, you're able to go and make a difference in other people's life. And that's what we're trying to do, man. We're trying to develop 1 million men around the world into, the best versions of themselves so that they're high character leaders for their families, communities, and nations.
So out of that 1 million, like what's the count right now?
I don't have a tracker. I think we're at like close to 300.
And that's how many years?
2.
Oh, getting there.
Yeah. This isn't a quick rich scheme. You know what I'm saying? This is like, it's going to take you 3 to 6 months, and then you're going to keep going on the journey after that, right?
Well, mindset is so crazy because anybody who you'll ever, so it's such a common word, like mindset. You got to get your mindset. But here's the thing: the same way it's boring to say you need to build a foundation on your house. You got to build a foundation, a great foundation. Okay, great. That's boring. It does. I heard that a million times. You heard it, but did you actually use that, knowing that mindset is the foundation for everything you do from there? Did you actually take time to build it and use that as your base rather than I know it and I read a bunch of books and I firewalked with Tony Robbins and yada yada yada, but how much of that stuck with you? You know what I mean? After the romance was gone and the novelty of new knowledge is gone, how much stuck with you? And part of this whole thing, at least for me, is I like to reread books. I don't like to have a ton of books. I like to go back and read them a bunch of times because just like the Bible, you got to read it a whole bunch of times anyway to get something new out of it. That's why people keep going back to it, because there's just so much in there and you got to be reminded. And it's what season are you in your head? Another thing too is I don't know. I mean, I imagine in a process like this, you've accounted for it, but people's vision of success and their version of success evolves. So I want to be a millionaire. At what cost, right? So at sometimes when you're young, you're at any cost. And it's the cost of your sleep, your health, your relationship, your kids, everything, right? Well, was it really worth it? And then the same guy, you catch him 40 years late, in his 40s, and he's yeah, I know now that all that was great, but I was talking to a guy today. He did, he gained $1 million and lost $1 million in 2 years. And I was what were the lessons he learned from that? And now he's back up there. But the point is, depending on what point of your life that was your goal and why it was your goal, even more importantly, you'll lose it just as fast as you make it. So what do you want? Do you want ups and downs and lots of activity and never time to sleep, but it's all great and I can flash this car? Or do you want simplicity? And for me, I rather have a simple life. I don't want a boat. I want a friend with a boat that I can be here's some money for gas and some barbecue and let's go out with your boat because you wanted the boat. I don't want the maintenance. I like the simplicity of knowing I can just rent a boat or I can just jump on a plane. I got the money to do that. I don't want all of that. Now, at one time in my head, my mindset might have been, I want a big mansion and I want all these things. But then as I grew older and I saw what it took to keep those things up and how much you got to be scrambling just to keep those things up for the appearance's sake, I like simple now. That's it. To me, that's successful. Not having to wake up and go, oh my God, I gotta run. I gotta go. I gotta be up for 12 hours. I gotta be in Clubhouse for 2 days straight and run a room. Stuff like that. Nah, success to me is if I want to do it, I do it. But if I don't want to do it, screw that. And my life is still happy. So yeah, like that. And that all comes from mindset and learning knowledge of self. And you do need other people to point these things out to you. You do need, like I was going to ask you, are you in any masterminds, or is this kind of like your version of a mastermind?
No, I'm in a mastermind.
Okay. So talk to me about like that and what you get out of that and how it led you to this and how this supplements, how they work together.
Well, I mean, I'm in a digital marketing mastermind.
Okay.
So, I'm with another 9 other business owners that are, looking at learning how to scale and grow their business online. And, there's a bunch of people in different areas. There's some people that are ahead. There's some people that are behind, and it's a great dynamic, and everyone's really, working together and helping each other out and learning from one another, sharing ideas, and, the guys that are leading it, are very, very successful in that area, and that's why I joined it, right? Is because they have what I want. So it's literally that simple. So then, in terms of, like other areas of my life, right? Like it's about mentorship. Like I have a spiritual mentor. I have a financial mentor, I have a mindset mentor, and I make sure that I've had those for over 10 years now, because that's important. That's important.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump on you.
No, you're good.
What do you say to the guy, the Joe Schmo that says, I can learn all that crap off of YouTube? Like, how do you deal with that? Because you and I both know that. I know the answer to that for myself. I'm just curious to hear what you say, because masterminds are not free.
Yeah.
Cost something. And sometimes people's eyes get big and they're like, what? I could do that for free. I could learn that for free. I could learn that on my own. Go to the library and go on YouTube. Like, what do you say to that person for yourself? Like I said, I know what I say, but what do you say? Yeah.
So a couple of different times I've had experiences of exactly what you're talking about. So like I told you earlier, I got trained in ontological coaching, which ontology is the study of being, right? Or being. That was $10,000, and I tell, and there's a majority of people in my life that when they ask me how much it costs, and I told them that it costs that much, you would have thought that I would killed somebody. You know what I mean? But I'm here to tell you, Jay, that like the instant that I paid that money, it changed my life. I told my subconscious mind that I'm worth this. I'll easily go buy a Cadillac for $30 grand and have a $450, $500 a month payment, but I won't drop 10 grand on my own development. That's going to in turn have a way higher ROI than driving a car for 5 years, right?
The ROI people don't think about.
So what would I specifically say to somebody that they says that they can go do it on YouTube? I would say this. Information has never been more available to us ever on the planet. There's more information in one Sunday version of the New York Times than someone would know in their entire life in 1650. Their entire life. That's how much information we have today. I can look up in anything in the world in 3 seconds. That has if that's true, if information is available to everyone almost on the planet, if you have a phone. So how come everyone isn't progressing? Because they're not financially and emotionally invested, because people are inherently lazy. And until you invest the money into yourself, you're not going to do the work. Research shows it. It's proven. And then some people say, well, what about scholarships? Well, that ain't free. That ain't free. Okay.
They had to earn that. That wasn't free. Like right. There's something you got to go through to get that. They don't just say, oh, you want Oprah, you get a scholarship and you get a scholarship. Nah, dude, you got to have grades. You got to prove that you're like a legit actual person trying to benefit, off, move yourself forward in life. That's there's hurdles.
The thing is, too, is everyone wants faster results, right? So mentors and masterminds accelerate your results.
I said it the other. I said it today. Actually, I was like, the guy was like, "Oh, that's a great analogy," and I've probably heard it somewhere before. It's probably not original to me, but I was like these masterminds are like a toll bridge. You pay the toll, you get there quicker. Sure, you could take the long scenic route. Go ahead if you want, do that. But it's for people who want to get there quicker, faster, farther, more efficiently. But yes, you can learn anything you want on the internet. But who's going to interpret it for you? Who's going to tell you how much of that is real or not? Can you call the guy who made the video and be like, yo, what did you mean by this? He's going to be like, yeah, you can call me $500, like whatever. The point is, you're going to pay for that. So take everything with a grain of salt. You're only seeing it through one sort of facet of all the facets that it could possibly be, because everybody's situation is different. And that's the best thing about masterminds for me, is all the blind spots that you're not catching. You think you got it all figured out, and somebody will drop one thing and you're like, dang, I totally missed that. And open up your whole world with it. Like you kind of said, when the one you did for $10,000 is like, boom, you got value out of it because you went there specifically for value, and free just does not do that for you. We appreciate it, but when it comes to like this kind of stuff, free has very little value. Nobody's really incentivized to move on it. In fact, a lot of people will charge you on purpose because they know that if I told you for free, you wouldn't do nothing with it. You'd be like, but I'm, there's no urgency to make that money back. There's just nothing there. There's no driver. And fight me all day on it if you want. But I've seen it too many times. I've heard it from too many people. And personally in life, I know that motivates me. If I drop a lot of money, I'm like, I'm getting some out of this. If I show up every day, if I don't show up every day, I'm coming back. I'm going to get every cent that I paid out of this bad boy. And that's really what the value of it is to me. It's the crack of the whip that makes me say, this is different. This is important. The hierarchy of things in my life that I could be doing. I just paid a bunch of money for this. I go watch TV or I go listen to this guy. You know what? The TV was cheap. This guy was expensive. I'm gonna go do that. Like that's kind of how I work. So, and I've always been that way.
Sure. But I would also say too, man, listen, I listen to YouTube almost every day, man. There's gold on there, but that's not the only thing I do. There's gold on there. I mean, you can listen to almost any Jim Rohn talk. You can listen to almost any Alan Watts, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Les Brown, all these giants. You can listen to tons of their lectures, but like, that's great. The problem is that with stuff with listening to YouTube and other thing, listening to podcasts, people think that is taking action.
That's true. That's
the problem. They're like, yeah, but I've been listening to YouTube. Okay, good for you, bro. That's nothing. That's consumption.
The accountability factor is missing from all that.
Yeah, that's not action. That's not implementation. That's consumption. That's gathering information, which is distinctly different from taking action or applying knowledge or wisdom. Like, that's the difference. So yeah, bro, if you want to listen to YouTube every day for an hour, do it. But then whatever you learn that day, go and implement it into your life. Like when I was leading teams, I was obsessed with John Maxwell.
Yeah, he's good.
Right? Because I mean, he's a master at leadership, and the way that he conveys his message in terms of leading teams is at a mastery level. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take all these books, read all these things, and give all the books to my managers too, and I'm going to implement these things. And it's uncomfortable, and it sucks, and it's different, and it's difficult. But like over time, it becomes your normal, and it becomes fully integrated into your own being, that it becomes a part of you, and you become that, right? And then it works. And then you're like, oh, I need to keep doing this more, not just like listening to shit. I need to actually take action.
Word up, son. So how do you want to leave your mark in the world?
Great question. I would say that the number one way that I've already done it is breaking the generational context of inattentive DiRoma fathers. It's been generation after generation after generation of, regretful fathers not taking action on spending that time with their kids, and I already broke that. That sends a ripple effect into the generations after me and into the current consciousness today.
Indeed, it does. So we're towards the end here. I know you're going to be sad to not see my beautiful face anymore, like today, anyway. But you know what time it is. It's dad joke time. So let's hear your banger. Let's see what you got for the family here.
Sure, man. How do you know when a joke becomes a dad joke?
I know this one, but I'm gonna let you go with it.
It's apparent.
Yeah, when the joke becomes apparent, right? That's it.
It's apparent.
I need to correct you, but I like that. That's it right there, man. You gotta get that.
Listen, my son told it to me, and that's how he told it to me. So I'm not.
No, but listen, I mean, it's so cute when they try to tell you jokes and they mess them up. Like,
Yeah.
my daughter, like today, she said, "Can I do a dad joke?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And she goes, she just says something that makes zero sense, but then she laughs at it, and I'm like, "You're getting it." No punchline. It's just a story with a funny, like an ending that she makes up out of whatever.
Out of thin air, yeah.
Yeah, she just made like a peanut butter and mud sandwich or something in her head, and like thought it was funny and told me about it. Like that. That's it. So all I can say is this: hopefully, all these dad jokes turns one of them into a really good comedian with a Netflix special that I could be like, I did that.
Tell her this one. This was my son's favorite for a lot of years. What did one volcano say to the other volcano?
See, I don't know this one. What did he say?
I lava you. Yeah.
They made a whole movie out of that joke. Did you know that? It's on Disney. There's like if you go on Disney, there's like these two volcanoes that are singing to each other, and that's actually part of the song. Maybe you heard it from that.
Yeah, wasn't that the intro cartoon to Moana?
I think so. I think that's what it was. So he got it. See, I got the thing. See, that's the dad memory. I mean, dad, and you just figuring out cartoons all day. Here's one for him that went over well for my kids. You can tell them and say, like,
Yeah.
what did the Pacific Ocean say to the Atlantic Ocean?
What?
Nothing. It just waved.
Oh, he'll love that.
Like that one. That's like a mid-level, mid-grade.
Mid-grade. It's a mid-grade. Yeah.
And they giggle. Yeah. So listen, it was awesome having you. This was a good time. We should probably do it in person at a Bahama Breeze with some coconut mojitos one of these days. That'd be nice. I'm thinking about doing these live one day. I don't know when, but I mean, figure out the technology and the Wi-Fi. Maybe I'll take it on the road a couple times. But listen, thanks for letting me talk to you, breaking open some knowledge, keeping the dad army strong and moving along. And yeah, man, anything you need, let me know. I got you, and I appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you too, man. Keep up the great work. It
is great work, isn't it? It's great work having fun with people like that. That's the dream we're all looking for. So yeah, man. I'm gonna put you down in the green room for a minute. Don't go away, but I'm gonna take these lovely people out, and yeah, we could talk a little bit after this. So I'll see you in a minute. Well, that to me, I like. That's probably one of my favorite shows. I had a great conversation. We got to chop it up a little bit, and that's it. This one went a little bit long, but yeah. Hopefully, you got some value from this if you tuned in or if you're catching it on the replay. I don't have anything free to offer you this week. I'm kind of spent. We're still doing masterminds and tinkering around with some other things. We got the Dad's Lab kind of going on. So, I mean, I'll say that to you right now. If you happen to be watching this and you have any really cool ideas and you want to kind of see if I can help you develop it into a thing, a real live, take it from the Pinocchio stage to a real live boy or tech or app from in this case, then definitely hit me up, dadlabs.tech, not .com, .tech, because somebody took .com, and if I knew who they were, I'd go fight them, but I don't. So .tech is the website for that. And if you happen to be a dad out there, dad entrepreneur of any kind, and you want to be on this show, you could just message me, or you could just text this beautiful number 305-602-3632, and you text the word dad show, and you'll get the form will get sent to you, so you can fill that out and get you in my little funnel, my little dad funnel to get on this show. Yeah, or anybody like that, you think you're like, damn, that guy's handsome, that guy's sexy. My friend should talk to that guy. Like, I don't know, maybe that's what's going through your head. If you're a man, probably not here to judge, but yeah, I mean, if you know some other entrepreneur dads that you think would be cool to interview or would want to talk to me and talk about their business and being a dad and balancing dad life and family life and entrepreneurial life all together in one big beautiful combination where everybody wins, then yes, we should talk. So I'm going to say good night. Take care, comb your hair, and I'll see you on the next one. Daddy out.